This one stings as the Rams lose another player from their practice squad. We're talking about who got picked up, how he was a fan favorite, and how this helps another player on the team. Also talking about a cornerback last year losing some snaps. We're talking about all that and much more on today's episode of the Rams Digest. I'm your host, Josh Rahidon. Remember, if you guys are not subscribed to the channel, do me a favor, press that subscribe button now, as roughly 64.8% of you guys are watching the videos, but you're still not pressing that subscribe button. All I'm saying is if you're already watching, might as well press that subscribe button so you don't miss any daily Rams content here at the Rams Digest. For those who tuned in to our live stream, like Joshua Feiner said on his video yesterday, appreciate all of you guys for tuning in. Welcome back to another episode. We are back talking about a couple of very interesting things here, and this one kind of stings. We have to say goodbye to someone who I think a lot of us consider a fan favorite on the roster. We're talking about the Rams getting poached, right? One of their players getting poached from the practice squad. This is the Jaguars signing Rams running back off of the practice squad. We'll talk about who it is in just a second. As you guys, I'm sure some of you guys have heard this already, or maybe you know, but ultimately, look, there's two ways to look at this. There's two kind of sides of the coin here, right? One side, you say, okay, the Rams lose a fan favorite who we had some hopes for possibly doing something for the Rams on this roster, but also it's giving and opening the door for another player to get a little bit more shine and more opportunity coming up soon. So we're talking about the Rams losing running back Cody Schrader from the practice squad. Liam Cohen and James Gladstone, these are two former team members of the Los Angeles Rams, poached another member of their old team. The Jacksonville Jaguars have signed Los Angeles Rams running back Cody Schrader off the practice squad after they traded running back Tank Bigsby to the Philadelphia Eagles on Monday. We'll talk more about all this in just a second. But yeah, ultimately, that's the fact of the matter, right? The Rams lose Cody Schrader, a guy that we all kind of thought, okay, shine, looks like he could be a potentially starting running back, or at least a guy who's getting snaps in the NFL, right? From what he's shown the Rams so far in the preseason, ultimately didn't really work out for them, making him officially a part of their roster. They did call him up as a practice squad call-up on week one. He only played, I believe, 4 snaps on special teams. I think it will say that here in the rest of this article, but ultimately, the Jaguars pick him up after they trade their backup running back, Tank Bigsby, which is a very questionable, head-scratching, especially for those of you who play fantasy football. It was very intriguing to see a guy who many thought could be the starter in Jacksonville over Travis Etienne. Travis Etienne balls out in his first game, so therefore, maybe Tank Bigsby was upset and requested a trade. Who knows? Tank Bigsby now in the Philadelphia Eagles. The Jaguars now trying to get a new running back in Cody Schrader. So a lot of moving parts here for sure, but ultimately, Schrader, 26, was elevated from the practice squad for the Rams Week 1 win over the Houston Texans. He played just 4 special team snaps, like I just said. For LA, he had played 10 special team snaps and 2 offensive snaps in 2024. So while Schrader didn't have a big role on Sunday, he was the number 3 running back behind Kyren Williams and Blake Corum. Rookie Jarquez Hunter was a health scratch from the game. Williams dominated the carries in week 1 with 18 rushing attempts on 49 snaps. Corum had 1 rush, 1 reception on 10 snaps. So ultimately, look, I've been talking about this all offseason long. When we're talking about the running back room, there's one running back on this roster, right? One true starting running back, and that is Kyren Williams. He is going to be your bell cow, workhorse kind of running back, and ultimately the other guys will get their shine every now and then throughout the year. I think the Rams would be smart to let Blake Corum, Jarquez Hunter get some snaps throughout the season just to kind of ease the load for Kyren Williams first and foremost, but also get these guys some experience. You may need them when it comes down to it. If, knock on wood, doesn't happen, but Kyren Williams, if he goes down with any type of an ankle twist injury, right, or something of that nature, if Blake Corum is getting 1 snap a week, if Jarquez Hunter is not even getting any snaps at all, that is going to be difficult to all of a sudden expect those guys to step into that starting running back role and dominate, or at least play to the level of Kyren Williams, right? So I think getting them those opportunities, keeping them ready is definitely the hope for me moving forward. Kyren Williams is still the guy, good for him, but we want to see a mix of Corum and Jarquez Hunter. Ultimately, tough to see a fan favorite, Cody Schrader, be moved on from. I know a lot of you guys liked Cody Schrader, but it's the reality. He's your 4th running back. The Rams just couldn't keep all 4 of these guys. You like all of them, but ultimately, I think you're okay moving on from Cody Schrader. You're going to be fine. Maybe he balls out in Jacksonville, but I think it's okay to see him go. You have a couple other good players here in the running back room in Los Angeles. Let me know how you guys feel about the Rams losing Cody Schrader, though, off the practice squad to the Jacksonville Jaguars. Moving on from that, defensive back room. We had an interesting kind of snap count going on of who was the cornerback 1, 2, and 3 starting for you for the Rams versus Texans, but also who really played any snaps at all, right? When we're talking about a guy who didn't play any snaps, Rams head coach Sean McVay explains why cornerback Darius Williams didn't play in week 1. This comes to us from the Rams Wire, Tyler Greenawalt, and very interesting, right? When Sean McVay kept saying over and over again that the Rams have 4 starting cornerbacks in this room. They have 4 starting quarterbacks on this roster. And yet when it comes down to the actual week 1 play, they only had 3 starting cornerbacks, right? Darius Williams, a guy who got a lot of snaps for the Rams last season as a starter, ultimately did not get any snaps in this game. Darius has done a great job. We felt like the approach was going to be with those 3 corners. I've always told you guys, I look at it as we've got 4 guys that have been excellent. We felt like the 3-man rotation was going to be what was best for our group as it related to approaching that game. Darius handled it like a total stud. He was ready to go if need be, and I was really proud of him and how he's practiced, how he's responded. But that was the thought process there. So ultimately, Sean McVay still sticking to the fact that he thinks we have 4. Sorry for my notification of the fact that I have to go to work soon. Ultimately, Sean McVay is telling the truth, saying, look, we have 4 good players who are good starting capable cornerbacks on this roster. But ultimately, when it comes down to week 1, we had a plan with these 3 guys. Now, you could talk about the size difference. Darius Williams being a smaller cornerback could be as an effect when you're talking about guarding a player like Nico Collins out there, for example, 6'4" receiver. Keelan Witherspoon, like Joshua Feinhurst talked about yesterday, did a really good job looking like a cornerback 1. Could be your cornerback 1 for the rest of the year if he remains healthy, which is good. Kobe Durant with an incredible, wild interception in that game. So obviously these cornerbacks they did use, Emmanuel Forbes Jr. as well, held their own, did a pretty good job. Couple flags here and there, but ultimately did a pretty good job holding up against the Houston Texans defense. I mean, ultimately, Houston Texans offense. Ultimately, this defense held the Houston Texans to 9 points, right? So overall, this team is playing really well right now. You can't really get too upset at Darius Williams not seeing snaps right now. We'll wait and see. The Rams are going to need him to play at some point this year, so good to see that Sean McVay is keeping tabs on him, saying that he's responded really well. He's accepting the fact that this is the situation. He understands that he's being a professional. We're hoping he's ready to go when we need him because, hey, that could be as soon as next week, right? We'll have to wait and see on that. But interesting to see that Emmanuel Forbes has cracked into that starting cornerback group. Kobe Durant being trusted as well. So we'll see if these guys can continue to hold up and play well as they looked pretty good in week 1 overall. So let me know how you guys feel about Darius Williams not seeing much snaps and how you feel about how this cornerback room is shaping up so far in this early part of the season. Moving on from that, trivia of the day, my favorite part of the episode, where I ask a trivia question. You give your trivia guesses down below in the comment section. Whether you're right or whether you're wrong, we give you a shout out on the next episode that I'm on here at the Rams Digest. For those who missed last episode, trivia of the day, this was a question that we asked everyone. These are the guesses, never mind. This was a question that we asked everyone. We said, who was the first player to win 4 Super Bowls as a starting quarterback? A few of you guys did play along with the trivia of the day. Always appreciate you guys for commenting. Had a couple funny, interesting comments that we're going to talk about in just a second. Here we had Jason Jackson saying, another awesome show, mate. I appreciate you and all your channel. At your channel and for all your intel on the Rams. Hunting time for V8s, Agent Zero, Kingpin, the conductor, and the rest of the regulators. To go eat, let's go. Terry Bradshaw, ? For Jason Jackson. So appreciate you, all the kind words, Jason, and hyping up the Rams team as well along the way. Shout out to Terry Bradshaw for your guess. By the way, I forgot to say the multiple choice options for this trivia of the day. Terry Bradshaw was one of them, but the other multiple choice options were A, Joe Montana, B, Tom Brady, C, Terry Bradshaw, or D, Roger Staubach. Thomas says, can't wait to see what Devontae does as a Ram. Go Rams. Trivia question, Terry Bradshaw. We had MM's Jr. saying, Doug Williams, Russell Wilson, Patrick Mahomes, and Jalen Hurts are the 4 black quarterbacks to win the Super Bowl. And for this trivia of the day, I believe it's Terry Bradshaw for the Steelers. Also was the first one to win back-to-back Super Bowls twice. I only know this because I had an annoying neighbor who was a Steelers fan. Shout out to you, Manuel. Appreciate you for commenting that. Alphonse says, Terry Bradshaw, I know I watched late, but this was way too easy. And then he says, please match the cap to the podcast. For those who missed last episode, I was wearing a Dodger hat. with all due respect, Alphon, no. I'm going to wear a Dodger hat if I have a Dodger hat. I do have a Rams hat, by the way, but I like my Dodger hats. I'm a Dodger fan. I'm going to wear the Dodger hat. Sorry if you don't like it. Floyd says Tom Brady. So, overall, most of you people, everyone here guessing, looked like they picked Terry Bradshaw. Just Floyd says Tom Brady. The correct answer for the trivia of the day. Who was the first player to win 4 Super Bowls as a starting quarterback? Was it A, Joe Montana, B, Tom Brady, C, Terry Bradshaw, or D, Roger Staubach? The correct answer was C, Terry Bradshaw. I almost said Roger Staubach. Terry Bradshaw was the first quarterback to win 4 Super Bowls in a row. And like Jr. says, looks like he was the first to win 2 back-to-back Super Bowls. So definitely shout out to Terry Bradshaw, the legend, as we all see him on Sundays talking football. Love to see that. Appreciate all of you guys for playing along with the trivia of the day, whether you got it right, whether you got it wrong. Special shout out to Jason, Thomas, Jr., and Alphon for getting it correct. If you guys missed that episode, you guys are like, hey, that was easy. I want to get a shout out just like those folks just got. Play along with today's trivia of the day, which is this question here. So before Patrick Mahomes, who was the last quarterback to win MVP and then the Super Bowl in the same season? Got to emphasize again, before Patrick Mahomes did it, because he just did it recently. But who was the last quarterback before him to win MVP and Super Bowl in the same season? Multiple choice options for you all. Was it A, Tom Brady? Was it B, Kurt Warner? Was it C, Russell Wilson? Or was it D, Ben Roethlisberger? Before Patrick Mahomes, who was the last quarterback to win MVP and the Super Bowl in the same season? A, Tom Brady, B, Kurt Warner, C, Russell Wilson, or D, Ben Roethlisberger? Give your guesses down below in the comment section. Whether right, whether wrong, we give you a shout out on the next episode that I'm on here at the Rams Digest. Other than that, that's going to do it for me on today's episode of the Rams Digest. Please remember to subscribe to the channel if you're not subscribed already. That's going to do it for me. I'm your host, Joshua Giron, and I'm out.